Joy. much peace. I can have joy, I can feel peace and bliss. I'm open to the joy, I'm open to the peace and feeling all this bliss. I can have joy, I can feel. Let it take me there and bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy. Let your thoughts slow down and feel the bliss. Peace. Relax your body and feel all of this bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy. Relax your body now and feel bliss. Peace. Let each breath take you into the bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy, peace, bliss.
Hello, happy Sunday, beautiful people. It is so very good to be here with you on this Sunday morning as we gather together to celebrate the magnificence and significance of the presence and power of God operating in, through, and as us. Let us begin as we always do with prayer, and I will ground us in a reading from the Daily Word, which is appropriate for today. The reading is Father's Blessing, and the affirmation: I bless my Father with loving thoughts of gratitude. Today I bless my father and the father figures I have known with thoughts of love and appreciation. The man I call father may or may not be related to me, but he has touched my life with love. I give thanks for those fatherly figures who selflessly gave their time and love to help me grow into the person I am today. Their demonstrations of patience showed me how to give others space and time. Their humor and lightheartedness taught me to not take myself too seriously. Their guidance and trust encouraged me to be independent and trust myself. I would not be the person I am today without the lessons of love and wisdom shared by my father. In so many ways, he gave me a strong foundation on which I built my life. I am grateful and blessed with all he has given me. Again, I bless my father with loving thoughts of gratitude. And so we take this into our prayer. I invite you to close your eyes and take a breath in and breathe out. Again, we breathe in and out. Bringing ourselves here and now to the present moment, to our point of power, we breathe in and we breathe out. We are here now. We are here now. We are here now. There is only one mind, only one power, only one presence, only one divine intelligence, divine wisdom, divine good that is working in all, through all, and as all, working in us, through us and as us, working in you, through you, and as you, working in me, through me, and as me. Each and every one of us hold and contain power. Each and every one of us are the seat and the place by which power expresses through. There is one life. That life is God. That life is our life now. That life is my life now. That life is perfect, whole, and complete. God is here now because God neither comes nor goes. It matters not where we are in our thinking. It matters not where we are in our emotions. God, the divine presence, divine love, is always, always, always present. And as we recognize the omnipresence of God, we recognize our oneness with this thing we call God, our oneness with Mother, Father, God. We recognize that we are individualized, particularized, undivided expressions of the all in all. That means we have great power. That means we have great possibility. That means we are fearless. That means we are sinless. That means we are worthy. That means we are loved beyond measure. That means we are abundant now. That means we are prosperous now. That means that all things are possible in, through, and as us now. That means that in consciousness and truth, we are healed, happy, and whole. So right here and right now, from this place of consciousness, we accept and allow healing. That means right here and right now, from this place of consciousness, we accept and allow wholeness. That means from this place of awareness, from this place in consciousness, right here and right now, we accept, we allow, we permit abundance and prosperity to express in, through, and as our lives. We say yes to it. We say yes to happiness. We say yes to healing. We say yes to wholeness. We say yes to it. We say yes to prosperity. We say yes to it. We say yes to success. We say yes to it. We say yes to abundance. We say yes to it. We say yes to more than enough. We say yes to it. We say yes to clear minds, clear thoughts, clear direction. We say yes to it. We say yes to right action and right thinking. We say yes to it. Right here and right now, we permit and allow all the good that God has for us to express in, through, and as us now. From this place of awareness, I release this prayer. I release it back into the law, which is always in operation, responding, and becoming, out picturing according to our belief. We let it be so, And we lift up our voices and we say, Amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is, and so it must be. Yes, yes. Well, hello again. Happy Sunday. Happy Father's Day. It is so wonderful to be here with each and every one of you again on this Sunday as we continue to do what we have always done, continue to be a light in the world, continue to awaken the world to the presence and power of God operating in, through, and as them, to celebrate this truth as one family, embody unconditional love, empower and embody these teachings so that we can empower you to learn and grow and be the God experience on the earth. If you are a first-time guest, hello. Welcome to Celebration Spiritual Center. Welcome to our weekend service. Welcome to this live stream. We are happy that someone invited you to be here with us, or something brought you here to be with us today, and we know it is not by accident. As a first-time guest, we'd love to stay in touch with you. You see the information here on your screen. This is how you access your digital connection card. Just text the word welcome to 347-472-1078. Just the word welcome. No additional messages are needed, and you'll receive a text back with a link. That link takes you to the digital connection card. Please fill out that information. We need your name and your email address, and then submit that form. You'll receive another email address that says you're all set, and indeed at that point you are all set. You'll be on our mailing list. You'll receive any and all correspondence that we send out throughout the week, and you'll be able to stay in touch with us. As a first-time guest, we're confident that you will receive something today, something that will support you in living an empowered life, and more importantly, thriving in your life this week and beyond. You can feel free to say hello in the comments as well. Let us know where you're connecting in from, but it's not necessary. We know that you will receive something powerful as a result of being here. So again, welcome. And so from this place of awareness, we have the opportunity to move forward with our news and updates, and then we will tap into the meditation, and then we can get into week 3 of our masterclass. It's up to you. Well, first and again, we are sending a happy Father's Day to all the dads in our community, and all the dads that are represented in our community one way or the other. We love you, we respect you, we appreciate you, and we admire you. Thank you for the ways that you have and continue to show up in our lives. It is the third Sunday in June. However, we will not be holding the God Talk today. So we trust that you will enjoy the remainder of your day after service in whatever way you choose to. And we will be back with the God Talk next month. As I just shared, we are in Masterclass mode here at CSC, and so if you are joining us for the very first time, we're studying the book It's Up to You, and you can get your own copy of the book on Amazon. It's available in digital and print formats. You can find it in other places as well. We encourage you to get the book so that you can stay up to date with the reading as we continue to move through the text week by week. Every fourth Sunday is Healing Sunday, and so next Sunday will be Healing Sunday. We have a special healing treatment that we will share as we continue to hold our community in the highest knowing, and in the highest knowing of healing, whatever that healing looks like for you: physical, mental, emotional, relationships, finances. We are all in need of some sort of healing, and so this prayer will be focused on that. We encourage you to be there. We encourage you to invite anyone that you comes to mind for you to be there. And of course, you can always share that Healing Sunday prayer treatment with those who are in need of prayer. We are celebrating Pride as it is June. It is Pride Month.
Yes,
and we have made available these new CSC Pride t-shirts. So we encourage you to go to the store, celebrationsc.org/shop, and you will see these two options for you to celebrate Pride this month. Every month we highlight a series of the month, and this month we are highlighting the Stay Woke series, The Path of Self-Realization, which is a series that is inspired by the teachings and life of Paramahansa Yogananda and his book, The Autobiography of a Yogi. Encourage you to tap into this. It is a powerful series. It will bless your life. It will awaken something within you, because of course we recognize that as metaphysicians, to stay woke means that we are awake, aware, and alive to the truth of our being, to the truth of who and whose we are, to the truth of who and what God is. And we live from that awareness. We live from that awakened state. Every Wednesday morning, we gather together at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Momentum Prayer Call. We share a reading, and then we move into prayer, and then we go on about our day. This Wednesday is a holiday, but we will still be praying at 7 a.m. And so as many of you will be off, I trust that you'll take the time to tap into prayer on this Wednesday morning. And if you're unable to tap into the prayer, and that's okay, you can always use the playback number. Every prayer is recorded. Enter the access code and wait, and the most recent prayer will play. If you have a prayer request, you can send that prayer request to prayerchampions@celebratonsc.org. We continue to hold the community in prayer, each and every one of you, knowing the very best, knowing the highest for each and every one of you, but you may have a specific request, or you may want to submit someone's name, someone you know who's in need of prayer. I'm thinking about our first-time guests. We are a church that believes in prayer. We are grounded in and founded in prayer, and so we are always bringing that emphasis back. And so if you have a prayer request, send that to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. And also, as your prayer is answered, as shifts and changes are happening, as the miracle comes forth, let us know about that. You can always email that same address to let us know how prayer is working in your life. Finally, this week we will be celebrating Juneteenth. We remember and honor our ancestors this week. We remember and know that while much has been accomplished, there is still much more to be done. We know that justice is something that we are still seeking, and know that it can be. We believe and know that a just world that works for everyone is possible. We hold that vision in mind, and we allow the commemoration of Juneteenth to remember the true end of enslavement here in the United States of America, remembering that just as that was possible, and seemed impossible to many, all of the additional things that we want to see take place in this country and in this world, while some may call impossible, we call possible. We hold to the vision, and we are inspired by our ancestors who held that vision so that we could benefit in the ways that we benefit today.
Yes, yes.
And so that completes our news and updates for this Sunday. And we all have the wonderful opportunity now to tap into the vibration of meditation as we are led in the meditation experience with Pastor Yolanda.
Yes, yes. It is time for the meditation experience. It is an opportunity to do an additional thing, more than just study the words. It's an opportunity to experience the God of your understanding within yourself for yourself. We like to teach and we like to study. And it is only through direct experience that you know the words you're reading are true for you. And so we take time every Sunday to go within and connect to the truth within our very being. And this month, I've been enjoying our affirmative thought, and I hope you have been as well. Light, joy, and peace abide in me. That affirmation comes from a workbook lesson in A Course in Miracles, and the Course asks us a very specific question. Why would you not be overjoyed to be assured that all the evil that you think you did was never done, that all of your sins are nothing, and that you are as pure and as holy as you were created, and that light and joy and peace abide in you? Now, that's a rhetorical question, because, right, who wouldn't want to know that? Who wouldn't want to believe that? But many of us have been trained to think that our worst thoughts and our worst deeds are who we are. And the Course is reminding you,
And I am reminding you, and PG reminds you, that the light of God is in you, and the joy of God is in you, and the peace of God is in you. They can never be extinguished because they abide there. When you arrived on the planet, you arrived fully equipped with light and joy and peace. Think about it. If that were not true, you would not be able to return to it as quickly as you can. Turn in the direction of what abides in you, light and joy and peace. So let's prepare ourselves to feel and be filled by that knowing now. Look around the room. Notice where you are. We do this to bring ourselves to the point of power, which is this present moment. You're not in the past. You're not worried about the future. You're honoring and practicing being here now. And as you look around the room, notice that you are safe. And from this place of safety, go ahead and allow yourself to sit comfortably, upright in a chair or on your sofa, feet on the floor, ears aligned over the shoulders, shoulders over hips. Plant the palms on the tops of the thighs. And from this place of alignment and confirmation that light, joy, and peace abide in you, allow your eyelids to gently close. This simple act, this gentle movement of the eyelids being closed, signals the body that it's okay to relax. It also takes your awareness away from the external and brings it fully to the present and internal, where light and joy and peace abide. Let's take a few moments to just notice the breath right where it is. For whether the breath appears to be deep or appears to be shallow, we make no judgment on the breath. We use it as an opportunity to be grateful that the breath is moving. We use it as an opportunity to practice non-judgment of ourselves. For light and joy and peace abide in us now. Beautiful, everyone. Now let's take conscious control of the breath, shall we? By sending the focus of our attention and the breath deep into the low belly. And we'll breathe together. When we breathe, inhaling for a count of 4, holding for 4, and then releasing the breath for 4, and relaxing for 4. Let's breathe together now. Inhale. Hold for a count of 4. And relax the jaw, sigh it out. And settle into the light and the joy and the peace. Again, inhaling into the low belly, dropping the breath nice and deep. Hold for 4. And without collapsing the body, just release the breath. Let it all go. And relax. In through the low belly, now allowing that breath to connect and rise, expanding the sides of the body. Hold for 4. And allow yourself to release whatever is blocking you from knowing the truth. Sigh it out. And relax. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, expanding the sides, and now the front, and sending that breath into the back where the support is. Hold it there. And sigh it out. And relax. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, now up through and to the heart chakra, center of the chest. Connecting low breath, mid breath, and high. And sigh it out when you're ready. And relax. Again, connecting, practicing the full breath in and all the way up to the heart. That altar of healing. That altar where light and joy and peace abide. And sigh it out. Now let's practice a few rounds of deep breath, connecting all 3 parts, but this time we're going to slow it down a little more. Breathing in and out through the nostrils for a count of 6. Inhaling together. Holding. And exhaling through the nose when you're ready. And relaxing. Few rounds on your own, in and out through the nostrils. This will be our form of breath work for the remainder of our meditative time. And one more round here. Ah, beautiful, everyone. Now send that breath and that focus of attention into the feet, connecting us to the earth. Maybe you raise the heels or wiggle the toes just to bring your awareness and energy into the same place. Stop the movement. Relax the feet. Letting that energy flow up through the soles of the feet, across the ankles. Relax the ankles. Our body wants to relax because we give it permission. So let that energy flow across the shins and the calves. Relax the shins and the calves. Energy flows across the knees. Relax the knees. And energy now wants to flow across the thighs, the glutes, the hamstrings. Give yourself permission for the thighs and the glutes and the hamstrings to relax. In fact, surrender the lower half of your body. You are supported by the Divine Mother, Father God, and the seat beneath you. Go ahead and relax now. Let that energy flow up through the spine, making its way up on the inhale. Full breath in through the nostrils, circulating, warming, and exhaling through the nostrils. Inhaling up Exhaling and allowing. Energy flows in and up. Exhale and allow. And up and up. And out the crown of our head. We are an open channel now for light and joy and peace to continue to flow. Let the energy flow back down through the crown, across the third eye, down the throat, resting gently, encouraging the shoulders to relax. As the energy flows down the arms and out the fingertips. From this place of openness, scan the body and notice without judgment if you're holding any tension. Send the breath there and send love, light, and joy and peace there. As we prepare for our silent time, bring yourself here and now, encouraging the body to relax with each breath and reminding the mind when it wanders that light, joy, and peace abide in you. Light, joy, and peace abide in me. Light, joy, and peace abide in us all now. With our eyelids still closed, we honor the time that we've given ourselves, and collectively we share together the truth that light, joy, and peace abide in us. With our eyelids still closed, we allow the truth that our sinlessness is guaranteed by God to be real. With our eyelids still closed, we let go and leave behind any thought that would make us think otherwise. From this place of truth and ease, let's signal our gentle return. with the palms planted on the thighs. Inhale, draw the shoulders up by the ears. Exhale, releasing the shoulder blades back and down as we gently wake the body. Inhale again. Nice full breath, extending, relaxing gently, shoulder blades back and down. And one more time. Inhale up. Exhale as we release the shoulder blades back and down. Stop the movement and bring the palms together at heart center. And if you are able, bow the chin towards the fingertips. Nice and easy, feeling the opening at the base of the spine, all the way up the neck and down again. Allow the eyelids to gently open. Nice soft gaze, no strain on the eyes or the experience that we've created. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze, release the breath, maintain the peace. Namaste.
Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, PY.
You're welcome.
A reminder, every Monday is Meditation Monday at 12 o'clock. This meditation that you just experienced will stream again. And we also have the Meditation Experience playlist, so you can access all of the meditations from that playlist from this year, right, going from January to now. Well, we are in class mode, and
Yes.
we are tapping into week 3. As you all know, your assignment for last week was to read chapter 2 again. I trust that many of you also came back to the stream to hear again some of the things that we shared in that class last week, which was awesome. We had some wonderful questions. Also, a reminder that as you're reading the text, if you have questions, or as you may rewatch the stream and you have questions, you can send those questions to truthsunday@celebrationsc.org, and we will incorporate those questions into the class. We did not have questions this week, which is all good. And so we're going to dive right into the text. We are in chapter 3. You create your destiny. And again, for anyone that's joining us for the first time, we are studying together, going line by line, each week through It's Up to You, written by Ernest Holmes. All right, I'm just adjusting my screen here. All right, cool. You create your destiny. One of the greatest stumbling blocks in any person's spiritual advancement is dishonesty, the refusal to honestly face an idea if that idea happens not to please them. This comes in part from the human tendency to take the line of least resistance, whether it be in our physical endeavors or in the operation of our mind. Confronted with an idea that repudiates one we have held for years, we go far out of our way, entirely around the idea, to keep from being compelled to analyze and possibly to absorb it. Our cry is, "I do not like to believe that." It reminds me of Dr. Seuss. This is, I think, an interesting thing. It's something to consider. One of the things that, when PY and I talk often, one of the things that I say is, my daily prayer is show me my blind spots. And also being very aware that we have blind spots. Right? And so even just starting from that place will support you in not living in this space, in this place. Because our beliefs should be challenged because our beliefs ultimately should continue to expand. And that's even those beliefs that were constructive or beneficial for you last year. There's more, right? There's a more expanded way of looking about it. So don't just take this and think about, oh, yeah, well, this is for people that hold negative beliefs. Because as you reach each top of the mountain you reach, that's the plateau for the new space for you to go to, right? That was the step to take you to the new awareness. And now there's more, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes when you have arrived at a level of good, and we constantly remind people when they send us prosperity reports, we're excited for you and there's more. We keep saying that, not that you have to be stressed about getting to the more, but so that you realize you've reached a level of acceptance of the good.
Yes.
And there's more.
No ceiling.
There is no ceiling.
Yes, yes. Back of this is the fear that an idea may be forced into our consciousness, which will uncover to us our own responsibility. If we are falling behind in the race of life, we do not like to think it's our fault. If we are experiencing physical discomfort, we attribute it to the weather, to long hours of work, to inherited tendencies towards certain diseases, to the food we eat, to anything rather than to the ideas we have entertained. Go ahead.
This word fault, we've talked about these kinds of words many times in many texts that we've used. It's, don't internalize that as he's saying you're a bad person.
Right.
He's saying you have the power to make a different choice. He's saying that the power really is up to you to make a new choice.
Yeah.
Maybe you weren't conscious of the things that you created or the way your life has unfolded. Okay.
Right.
Now.
Yeah. If we seem less successful than our neighbor, and it seems difficult for us to not compare ourselves with some neighbor, absurd as it is, we say to ourselves, it is because I did not have as good a start in life. It is because he has a pull that I do not have, or some other excuse equally as ridiculous, rather than face the fact that we are the actual creators of our own destiny. We do not like to believe that. This is interesting again.
It is interesting.
Now, of course, you know, Ernest Holmes uses some very strong language here, I think, right? But what's interesting here is what he's really, he's annoyed at something, and it's a good thing. He's annoyed at the tendency to compare, right? And you all know the quote from Roosevelt, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. So at any point that we're comparing, I don't care under what circumstance or situation it is, you've literally robbed yourself of joy. And joy is another word for God. It's an expression of God. So God, the all that is, omnipresence, this power, this presence, this infinite, unlimited, omnipotent power that absolutely dwells within you. Basically, you're ignoring that when you compare. And so that's why he's talking in this way of like, it's absurd and it's ridiculous, because it is absurd and ridiculous to remove God from your thinking. But that's what we do when we compare, right? We forget that we're the actual creators of our destiny. This also reminded me, there's a song that I love, I listen to all the time, but I change the words as I sing along. Because in the song it says, only God knows my destiny. And I always sing, only I choose my destiny. Because that's the truth of life, right? That we are actually the creators of our destiny. Many do not like to believe that.
And it feels challenging to believe it if it's not going the way you want it to go. And that's where we tend to fault ourselves, guilt ourselves, judge ourselves, as opposed to realize, oh, I can make another choice for myself.
Example I love to use, and most of us don't do this anymore, but if you're writing in pencil and you misspell a word or you want to change the word, you turn the pencil over, you erase, and you
Wipe the
correct.
page.
You wipe the page.
Blow it off, do whatever you do.
And you start writing again, whatever that was, right? You don't stop. Oh, look, you dummy, it's your fault. Look at how bad you are. You should have known better. Something's wrong with you. That's not what you do.
No, not at all.
And so that's the same energy that we're talking from when we talk about this idea of just correcting something. It's you're writing in pencil, you turn over, you erase, wipe the page, and just keep going. That's all. That's the energy right there, is the energy. Every normal-minded person believes in something greater than themselves. Every scientific person is compelled to admit that there is an intelligence in the universe, whether or not they ascribe the elements of personality to it. It is not a mark of intelligence to deny a supreme something. There is an absolute and positive presence to which we may consciously come and which will consciously respond to us. This universal presence does not bless some and damn others, but responds to everyone who approaches it. This last sentence, it cannot be said enough. It cannot be said enough. This universal presence, this thing that you call God, or whatever name, word you use for the divine, does not bless some and damn others. That's not how God works. That may be how some humans wrote stories about the divine or about deities or about God. All that is, this universal presence, this supreme something, as Ernest Holmes says, does not bless some and damn others. We have a right to believe this for the simple reason that we can talk to one another and be understood by one another. So far as we understand the law of intelligence, we may set it down as axiomatic that intelligence responds to intelligence intelligently. If this is true of humanity, the part, why is it not true of the whole? Now he's pulling on your intellect. I love this, right? In the sense of, you're a logical person, right? Let's think this through for a second, right? Let's think this through. In the same way that we can understand each other, I'm just making sound. And this sound that I'm making communicates something to you, and you understand it, right? And we're able to do that. And so we understand that intelligence responds to intelligence intelligently. And so if this is true of us and all of the faults and flaws and imperfections and fallibility that humans have, if we're able to have this sort of conscious connection, how much more must this be true on the whole, right? On the largest expanse of life. And that's what he's saying here. Universal intelligence, if it exists, must respond to us.
And so it's making an assumption that you believe it exists.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be studying these texts, right? You wouldn't be trying to correct your old thinking about the concept of God and what it is and how it works.
Universal intelligence, if it exists, must respond to us. God is more than an infinite it, more than a cold principle without any motivation of feeling and emotion. When we are told there is no such thing as an individual good, that as we claim great ability, great opportunities, great happiness, we are recognizing these things for every person whose consciousness is open to receive them. Perhaps we say, I do not like to believe that. Maybe we think that the other person can attend to their own business. They can make their own affirmations of good. They can. But all blessings that we claim as belonging to us as a perfect person are also the qualities of real people everywhere. And this is beautiful. This is beautiful, which is one of the things that can take you out of so often, and as we've worked with people for so many years, right? We encounter, sometimes there are folks that don't want to desire things, right? Sometimes there are folks that think it's bad to want things. And part of what that is rooted in is this sense of taking away from others, right? Like if I have a certain amount of good, then it's taking away from others. I at one time had a temporary belief in my mind of succeeding beyond my father. That I kept coming up against that. It was something that I couldn't get over. I didn't know what it was. And in doing work with my coach at the time, we uncovered that I had this invisible ceiling of believing that somehow if I exceeded my father or exceeded my parents, that somehow I was diminishing them or diminishing what they did or even being ungrateful in some way. But the truth of life is that that's how it works, right? That actually your children should go above and beyond, right? It's like your parents are your foundation, the place that you leap off from. And once I shifted and changed that, I opened up so many doors, so many opportunities, so much money, and also hearing from my parents in a new way how proud they are of me, hearing from my parents in a new way of just how much they celebrate the life that I have created and I'm creating. But I couldn't hear or see any of that as long as I had that fixed idea. So the beauty is, the truth is that everything that we claim, we're not taking away from anyone else. Nope. But actually, as you learn, know, affirm, accept, allow, and permit the good in your life, you are also doing that for each and every soul on this planet and beyond. I referenced it last week, Marianne Williamson, right? It's that idea of you give others permission to do the same. Absolutely. That's the spiritual principle.
And it's infinite good. Mm-hmm. It didn't say limited good. Mm-hmm. It's not like there's this one little pie. Mm-hmm. Each person has their own opportunity to live in infinite good.
Yes, yes.
Yours doesn't take away from mine, and mine doesn't take away from yours.
Right, absolutely.
And so if you've held this belief, here's another opportunity to let it go.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. All blessings from God are as impersonal as the sun and rain. Mm-hmm. The soil will produce just as beautiful strawberries for the man in the next town as it will for you and me, if that man uses correctly the law governing the planting of strawberries. This is, again, in a couple sentences, a deep teaching that shatters so many long-held beliefs. Mm-hmm. All blessings from God are as impersonal as the sun and rain. And yet, what do we also know? This is scripture. It's in the Bible. For those of you who hold the Bible as your highest authority, right? The rain falls on the just and unjust. What it's saying is that God is not operating in the way that humans operate. Because if God was operating in the way that humans were operating, I can assure you the sun wouldn't shine on or at least a couple folk, right? There's a few people that wouldn't get no rain based on how they acting out here in this world. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, because we are working with a law, right, in the same way that the planting of strawberries is governed by a law, each and every one of us have equal accessibility and opportunity to work with and make use of this law. If you tell me about the beauties of some mountain scene I have never experienced, I get from you a word picture, but I do not have the thing in the same way that you have it. Mm-hmm. It is now yours, and when I experience it, it is mine. Why, then, may we not feel justified in believing that the universal mind is at this moment all around us and within us, and as we wake up to a perception of its presence, it wakes up to us, so to speak, and flows in us and through us in such degree as we embody it, it embodies us. We all look about us and discover we have a certain physical environment. We may like it or we may not like it. We may think it is beautiful or we may think it is ugly. We may say it is friendly or we may say it is not friendly. But regardless of this, each one's environment is going to be to them what they are to it. Obviously, God could not create humanity with the gift of free choice without making them able to think. And God cannot think without bringing upon themselves, and we cannot think without bringing upon ourselves the results of our thinking. Universal mind has no choice but to create through law the thought that is given to it. If it could contradict that thought, it would be recognizing something outside of itself and would not be a unity. There is nothing which we see in the entire universe, whether it be a tree, a stove, a person, a bird, other than a thought objectified. It could not be there if it were not made out of mind, for that is all there is to make anything out of. All right. So this is beautiful to understand something because, of course, we always get into the conversation of, okay, I'm the creator of my destiny. I'm the creator of my reality. Okay, my thoughts outpicture as my life and demonstrate as the body of my affairs. Okay, I accept that. And then why is it that God allows, when I think that I am unworthy, for me to experience unworthy thoughts? Why doesn't God just say, no, stop, you don't want to think that? Well, first of all, it goes back to what we just talked about, right? That in truth, the blessings of God are as impersonal as the sun and the rain, right? So in the same way that we know that well, actually beautifully, if we think about how humanity has impacted the earth in negative ways. And so now we have these consequences because of that, right? And nothing stopped that, right? Nothing was like, hey, humans, you might not want to pull all this oil out of the earth. You might want to think about using wind power and solar power, right? Hey, humans, you might want to conserve the ocean. You might want to look at pollution, right? Like, that's not what happens, right? What we did, we now have a result, and then the result we can look at and change, right? And to the extent that humans are making changes, we're seeing the results. We watched this beautiful documentary on National Geographic on the island of Niue, and looking at how they protected the reef, and the work that they've done over the years has preserved the reef, and it's beautiful and powerful, right? All of the things that they've done, but that's because there was an action. There was an effect. They saw the effect. It was like, oh no, this is not going to be good for us now and long term. Let's do something different. Let's protect this environment, right? And they did that, and now they can go back and see the benefit of it. So similarly, when we understand that from the perspective of our lives, that one, everything begins in mind. Right? I'd say all the time, a prosperous life is still possible, and it all begins in mind. Nothing that exists could exist except it's made out of mind. Everything is thought objectified. So when we understand that, then that means that whatever we're experiencing in our lives, we must go to the realm of mind to shift and change that.
Absolutely. And, thinking back to the meditation, the affirmative thought this month, light, joy, and peace abide in me. There was a thought in mind that placed light, joy, and peace, that thought you into existence and thought you with all of those things in place, not to be altered except by your choice to alter them.
Yep.
Light, joy, and peace abide. All of this goodness that created it in mind, gave it to you in mind as a birthright, just like every other birthright, and you get to decide when and how you use it.
Yep. And Holmes goes on, that our thought is creative should be the most comforting idea ever entertained by us, because with it comes the realization that it is creative only because we are using the mind of God.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah. God's mind is my mind now, right? What greater concept can ever come to us than the realization that God is with us? If God be for us, who can be against us? To the person who will take the position that they wish to work in union with the power of good will come all the power that they can conceive of and accept. Such a person will then know that they cannot fail in what they really want to do. Right. And so this is interesting when we think about what you really want to do. Right. There are a lot of things that we say we want to do. There are a lot of things that we talk about what we want to do. But when we come into conscious union with the divine, when we come in conscious union with the power of good and choose to conceive and accept that good.
And both of those things are important,
right,
required.
Right.
You can think a whole bunch of thoughts, but until you can accept it for yourself.
Right. And so that's what determines what you really want to do, right? When he uses that term. Right.
And it should be comforting to know that. And most people, when they come to these teachings, they go through that guilt or that shame phase of, oh, this is the life that I've created, as opposed to, oh, this is the life I've created. Exactly. Now what do I want to create? Now what? Now what do I really want? We say that to people all the time. Well, you say, but what you're showing me is what you want.
Right.
So what do you really want?
Right.
And it's okay. Most of us, as PG said, haven't even stepped into the awareness of, I can have desire.
Right.
And I can have a desire and allow it to be met.
It is not a matter of whether we call God the spirit or mind or the creative principle or the universal mind or the heavenly Father or something else. Did you know God is just a word, and God does not care what you call it? God is known by many names, is named and nameless. The point is our recognition, awareness, and use of this divine good, this divine presence, this universal law that we call God. One thing we must learn is that it does not matter what we call anything. The only thing that matters is that we have the right idea about the things to which we give a name. The divine reality responds alike to the symbol of the cross or the crescent. I love this because the cross or the crescent, right? So we're talking about Islam, Christianity. What's also interesting, as I was rereading this week, it was thinking about pride, right? And thinking about how there are some folks that are still having trouble with pronouns, right? If the divine presence doesn't care, right? Why in the world are we as humans out here caring, right? Because what's beyond that, or before that, right? Any of our expressions, however we are expressing in our human form right now, is that we are children of God, right? That we are perfect, whole, and complete divine realities in truth, right? And so whatever the symbol may happen to be, in this case, pronouns, right? The divine reality responds alike.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what we said, what he writes in the beginning of this chapter. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe that someone who is different than me is equally as good, equally as loved, equally as sinless, equally as amazing as me, because I don't understand their expression. And that's not how God operates.
Right. So it matters not what we call anything. What matters is that we have the right idea about the things. Right? And so this is where we get into sometimes, particularly within New Thought, as we understand our words have power and we want to be mindful of our words and how we use our words. What's interesting is that I can hear, particularly as we're working with folks, what the idea is behind the words. See, some of y'all are out here using the words, but the idea behind it is still people are out here using universe, right? People are out here using the divine. People are out here using goddess and sacred mother, but you're still treating the divine reality, the idea behind it is still, you're giving it human characteristics, you're still begging it, you're still bartering with it, you're still asking it questions. Instead, and when I say asking it questions, I mean like, oh God, please, will you please bless me? Will you please heal me? Will you please give me money? Lord, will you please help me pay my rent this month? Right? Still, you're just using sacred mother, goddess, universe, and on and on and on.
Divine feminine, whatever term you want to use.
So it's what we call it doesn't matter. So hear that. I don't care what words you use.
Right. There's nothing wrong with the placeholder.
But the right idea about the things is what's important. And of course, the divine reality responds alike to the symbol of the cross or the crescent. We should think of our spirit as being part of the universal spirit and of our mind as open to the divine influx. As any specific knowledge must come from the center of all knowledge, it follows that whenever and wherever the mind of humanity is open to the divine influx, it will receive instructions directly from the source of all. Science, invention, art, literature, philosophy, and religion have one common center from which is drawn all knowledge. And I love this as well because there's a universality here that Holmes is speaking of, and we continue to see so many differences when it comes to religious expression, right? We see so much contention still between folks that some of that is rooted in religious differences. But what we recognize and know to be true is the divine is the source of all. Right? And so where there is truth, where there is love, where there is wisdom and intelligence, it is drawn from the source of all knowledge, which is God itself. But we must not overlook what we term negative thoughts, thoughts of hate, of lack, of jealousy, of greed. Creative law takes these and gives them back to us, multiplied. Undoubtedly, we do not like this. We are perfectly willing to concede that we help ourselves somewhat by uplifting thoughts. Maybe we go as far to admit that spiritual thought is creative, but negative thoughts, surely they have no power to do anything. Just the power that we give them. right? And so this is the thing that so often we miss. There are many characters in horror films that actually align with this thinking that, if you believe in the whoever the villain is, right? That's what gives them the power. If you don't believe in them, they can't scare you, right? They can't show up in your dreams or whatever it may be. And this is really the truth of so much of the negative, so much of the that which is deconstructive and is not beneficial. Unfortunately, we have been taught to believe in so much that is unlike good. We have been taught to believe in so much hate and lack and jealousy and greed. And then our society and our popular culture reinforces that,
Yeah.
right? This is the only reason why we're mindful about what we watch. This is the reason why we're mindful about what we entertain. This is the reason that we're mindful of the conversations that we have. This is the reason that we're mindful, because we recognize that the power comes from what we give to it. And of course, power flows where attention goes.
Right. So you know where the power is by where your attention and your focus is. And even if your intention initially is a good thing, if you find yourself engaging in conversation that promotes hate or lack thoughts, limiting beliefs, or jealousy or greed, or any of those things, even superiority.
Yeah.
I don't do that, but they do.
Talk about
Oh, I'm better because I believe this and they don't know yet.
Yeah.
Any of those kinds of negative beliefs will be reinforced in your experience.
How about it? The creative law cannot refuse to fill the form that our thoughts give it. It does not know good or bad thoughts. It knows only to multiply and return to us that which we create in our thought. Again, going back to the Bible, for those who hold the Bible in high authority, we read in Scripture that the things of God are yea and amen, right? That God only says yes. Right, it's just like an open gate, right, and just all things flow through it, right, without judgment. So this is the truth, and this is why we have to be mindful and learn how to work with the law, right? If you were working with something that it doesn't know good or bad thoughts, it just whatever you give it, it multiplies, right? Like imagine if you had a machine that it's like, here's negative $100 and it gives you negative 200, right? And then you give it negative 200 and it gives you negative 400. You'd be like, oh wait, let me stop putting negative into this machine. Okay, so if I put 10 in, it gives me 20. Okay, if I put 100 in, it gives me 200, right? I'm learning to work with this thing because I see how it works.
Absolutely. And part of the issue or challenge is we don't work with it long enough to see the benefits. We're a little sometimey. We think God is sometimey.
Yeah.
We're sometimey and inconsistent in the pattern of our thinking.
Yes.
And so we might have one moment of goodness, and then there's a pattern of thinking that outweighs it in our mind, not because the universe doesn't want to provide it. It just keeps saying yes. It just keeps saying yes. And if you don't like the yes you're getting, then you need to shift what you're asking.
Yes. We cannot hinder the law, right? And so this is why we learn to understand the law and work with it and make use of it.
Meaning it's always going to operate, so you can't hinder it.
But it can be your taskmaster or your servant, as Holmes writes in The Science of Mind. We cannot express freedom when we are in bondage to negative beliefs. We had better respect the action of the law if we expect perfect results. Right, and so what he's saying here, and what's being advised of us is to those of you that are choosing to demonstrate, to manifest, right? Those of you that are seeking to make use of the law of attraction, which is an expression of this law, right? It's not the only law, right?
Right.
For those that are willing to do that, then it's important that we learn, and respect is a beautiful word, right? Re in front of a word always means again. And spect, there's a Latin root, spectare or spectare, which has us thinking about our sight, right? We better look again. Ooh, I love that. It preaches all by itself. We better look again at the action of this law. We better look again at how this thing works. If we want perfect results, just means the outcome that we desire, right? Whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you want, we in January we wrote out my biggest dream list, and I trust that many and most of you are still reading that list morning, noon, and night, right? I know I am. I trust that you are.
And that's an interesting question, not as a judgment, but are you reading your list morning, noon, and night?
Right.
Are you still, or did you put it aside because you expected some immediate result that would counteract all the years that you've been thinking and acting another way?
Yeah. Right.
Or are you consistently, and are you understanding that the law is not hindered in the way that it works? Just like gravity isn't hindered, right? It just operates. It doesn't say you don't want to jump off that building, or you don't want to take that bungee jump. It just, this is how it works.
Yeah. I was thinking about electricity, right?
Same thing.
We better look again at how electricity works, right? You're in the bathtub and dropping something in the tub with you, right? Water is a conductor of electricity. We learn that, right? We learn how to work with these laws for our benefit, right? And so that we can have the results we want.
And once you've learned the law or how electricity or gravity works, you never question it again, do you? But it's something about the laws of the universe we're constantly questioning and doubting. Well, maybe it doesn't work that way because I didn't ask this, or maybe it works this way because I was a better person, or maybe you don't question gravity. Once you've learned that it's the way it works, you believe it, and you operate accordingly. It's the same thing with the laws of the universe.
Yeah. When confronted with undesirable conditions in harmony and lack, we know they are the result of the improper use of the law. We know we have been betrayed by an erroneous thought, and we will not allow any self-righteousness to dull our ability to separate the real from the false. We will declare our unity with good and know that the law of our being is a law of annihilation to anything unlike itself. This is, again, so beautiful because, again, he's taking us back to the example I used about the pencil with the eraser, right? We'll not allow any self-righteousness to dull our ability to... So, in other words, like, one, we're not going to be thinking, and this is for those of you who have been on the path for a while and you've demonstrated and you've read and you've studied and you've achieved some level of mastery, which is wonderful, right? All of us still have and will hold erroneous thoughts, and we will get results according to that. But we're not going to allow self-righteousness, right? Thinking, we're just going to keep persisting in the
unwanted,
right? To dull our ability to separate the real from the false, separate our ability from the real from the false. And this is why I said in the beginning that idea, it's one of my daily prayers: show me my blind spots. Right? I'm not going to live in that self-righteousness of thinking, oh, I'm Pastor Greg.
Right.
So.
It's always interesting to us when we're working with people one-on-one. And we tell them about a belief that we either held or are working to release, and they're surprised. We don't enter into this in some superiority. We entered into this just like students, like everyone else, with slightly, maybe a little bit more knowledge, but the authenticity and the ability to say, well, we still have things to do as well. And we hope that leads you to realize that if they still have things that they're working through, so do we, and it's all okay.
Right. One of the things I love about looking at athletes, right, and I used this example some years ago, thinking about working with the law, and it reminded me when people I was talking about gravity, right? So you can have, world-class quarterback, right, who throws the football. They're making use of gravity, right? It is gravity that brings the football down, right? But they've learned through their own strength how to target that ball, work with that law so that it lands where they want them to land. But the best quarterbacks in the world still throw bad passes, right? They still lose games. They still lose big games, Super Bowls, championships, etc., right? So even as you've achieved mastery, part of the path of then, if you walking this path from the place of mastery is learning, as P.Y. loves to say, how to bounce back.
How to bounce back.
Right? This was exemplified so beautifully. I bring it up all the time because it's just wonderful when we look at the story of Jesus, right? In the Garden of Gethsemane, as he's there talking to God and according to some accounts of the story, crying tears. He was so afraid in that moment that his tears, he was crying blood, right? According to some accounts, right? And, you know, many of you know the story. Again, he was very fearful. He was trying to negotiate with God. He was doing all the stuff that he had
all
been,
the human things.
right? That wasn't what he was teaching.
Right.
But where he comes to the end, right? Thy will be done, right? Before he was take this cup from me and all of that, right? But he comes back to this place of internal knowing, and the teaching in that moment is to show us what mastery actually looks like, right? That mastery is not about being self-righteous. You're going to have the moments, you're going to have the feelings, you're going to have the emotions, you're going to have
the experiences.
Yes.
You're going to have
Yes.
challenges in health and finances, and you're going to have
Yes.
all of those things.
Yes.
But how do you navigate them, and how do you bounce back?
You come back into your conscious awareness with the all in all. And what's beautiful is then from that place, when he comes out of the garden and the disciples are sleeping when they were supposed to be standing watch, Judas comes with the soldiers, the betrayal happens. But Jesus, full of power, full of his knowingness, after going through the experience, says, "Come, friend." Right? He didn't cuss Judas out. He stopped. I think it's Peter, the other disciple, that pulls out the knife and cuts somebody's ears. Like, yo, no.
Yeah, chill.
We don't need all this violence. All is well. Come, friend. That's how it works, right? That's how it works. And so when Holmes talks about this, we're not going to allow self-righteousness to dull our ability. That's what we all have to move through. We must remember that we are not dealing with a field about which we can say, I do or do not like to believe thus and so. It is not a question of likes and dislikes. It is only a question of what is so and what is not so.
Right. Most of us would say, I don't want it to do this, as opposed to what I want it to do. Right? I don't want it. It should know that I don't want. It only knows what you say and the energy by which you say it.
Our body, the objective manifestation of the invisible principle of life, is always an effect. It cannot by any possibility be a cause. So, if we would change conditions in the body, our only alternative is to go back to the cause in mind and make the change there. This reminds me of something that Dr. Joe Dispenza writes about in You Are the Placebo. Is what he's seeking to support us in doing as we're making a change in our consciousness and ultimately a change in our body. The issue is that our body has become the mind, as Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. And that's what we've inverted the process. And so then this is why we're having this experience, right? That our body has become the thinker, which is, if an effect is the thinker, right, you're going to run into all sorts of issues, all sorts of problems. And we can expand that because body, we're talking about the body of our affairs, right, in addition to our physical body. And so what most people are working through this life doing is something happens out there, and then that determines how I feel. Someone says something out there, and that determines what I think about myself. Something happens out there, and that determines what I think about my world. Something happens out there, and that determines what I think is possible for me. Right? But as he's saying, I'll expand it. The external, our body, anything that's external, the objective manifestation of the invisible principle of life, is always an effect. It cannot by any possibility be a cause. Oh my goodness, that's good news.
Right, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to change an effect.
Right.
You would be stuck.
Right.
You would be stuck in the limiting belief. You would be stuck in the unworthiness. You would be stuck in, I don't have, I am not. But you're not.
And so this is why, as we're thinking about Juneteenth, the thing that I always love to think about when I think about my enslaved ancestors, right? There was an unwavering, unshakable knowing and belief in mind that the external conditions could not stop. They could not be beaten out. It could not be shackled out. It could not be separated out.
It could not be renamed.
Exactly.
Its language could not be taken from it.
Exactly.
Its land, its home could not be taken from it.
Exactly. And that's the reality, right? And so as we consider that and honor enslaved Africans and think about freedom in this consciousness this week, this is a teaching moment, right? To get us to understand something, right? That's what had to be held in mind in order for a change to ever come into being. If at any point, and when we think about in our individual lives, some of us have given up in that way, right? That as a collective, if at any point there had been a complete surrender, that would have just become the law of life, right? Not the true law of life, but that would have been the experience, but never. We have how many accounts of slave revolts, right? Over and over and over and over again, all across the diaspora, right? There was no, when we were in Barbados, we went to, there's a signaling tower that was built, one of the highest points on the island, and it was built to watch out for slave revolts. Right. So there was it was clear that enslaved Africans did not want to be enslaved and were going to continue to figure out ways to try to live out the reality of their freedom. Mm-hmm. And so the enslavers knew that. They knew that they're going to continue to try to be the truth of who and what they are. So we're going to build something to try to watch and warn, right? It's very interesting when you start to think about that. Mm-hmm. But when you think about your own life, there are probably some things that you've resigned that just, I guess this is just the way it is.
Right. And your conversation has subconsciously continued to build around this is just the way it is, as opposed to this is what I want.
Yes.
No, this is just the way it is. This is all I can have. Mm-hmm. This is all I can be. Mm-hmm. This is all that I'm entitled to.
Right. I'm a certain age now.
Right, all of those things. Instead of saying, I realize I've held this belief about age or whatever, and looking for examples of something in opposition to it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We constantly send each other images of people thriving in their, just thriving throughout their entire lives, so that we're consciously planting in our subconscious mind another reality.
Our only alternative is to go back to the cause in mind and make the change there. So if this resonates with you as you're hearing us speak, and we recognize that we're on your doorstep, we're on your street, in your neighborhood, this is where you start. Just begin to, first of all, just accept that, maybe I held an erroneous belief. Mm-hmm. Right? Maybe I'm just like the scarecrow in The Wiz when Dorothy says, you're just a product of some negative thinking. Right? Yes, you could have always gotten down off the pole. Yes, the crows told you some mess and had you singing a song. You can't win. That's just not true.
No matter how catchy and great it is, if it's not the truth, you can let that go.
You can let it go. And then, of course, there is a Dorothy within you that'll help you get down as she did in The Wiz. When we speak of the body of a person's affairs, we refer to the outward condition of their circumstances, their business, or their environment, which is always an effect of their inner life, can be changed by changing the thought about the conditions. God does not bestow the gift of abundance upon this or that person. God does not know whether you and I have much or little. The source of our supply is unlimited, and it rests with us how much we will embody. Every time we say that our environment is against us, we are cursing it and cursing ourselves in our relationship to it. Let us erase any thought of hate, the tare of the wheat, the devil grass of the lawn. Let us pull it up and leave only thoughts of right action. Let us bless our environment, visualize it as ideal in thought and imagination. We should mentally create an environment which is more like that which we feel will make us happy. The existence of life is from within and never from without. The environment should be contemplated as full of joy, love, appreciation, and recognition. People say often, I do this or I do that and am never paid for it. It is impossible for a person to be compensated for their work if they refuse to be compensated. If we contemplate our environment as not appreciating us, then we shall get back from it in kind. We will not be paid. Ooh, Lord have mercy.
And that's a hard one to accept. But it's also an opportunity to change your circumstances. If you feel underpaid,
Yes.
check in about that. What does that really mean? Do you undervalue yourself? Are you giving away yourself with no return? Not just financially, in other areas of your life.
Because appreciation appreciates.
Absolutely.
And so you have the opportunity to first appreciate yourself and do that inner work, right? And then it's amazing how you begin to create that in your life. But also you have the opportunity, as he talks about, creating this environment. One, pulling out the weeds, right, out of the lawn of your own mind, right, and leave only those thoughts of right action. But bless your environment, bless your world, right? This is why I love to use the words inspired by Reverend Ike, right? This idea of thank you, God, in me. Thank you, God, in me for happiness, success, radiant health, prosperity, and money, right? I'm affirming that this environment is good, right? This environment is full of love, full of joy, full of appreciation, full of recognition, and I'm going to keep recognizing it because I know that God is paying attention to what I'm paying attention to. That power flows where my attention goes. Every time I speak that and put my attention to it, that's what I begin to multiply in my life. We should convince ourselves that it is as important to comply with the law on the unseen side of life as it is to abide by law in the manifest world. I love this passage because it just makes good sense.
It does.
If you were given a recipe for a cake that you had particularly enjoyed and you prepared to bake one just like it, would you, with all the ingredients before you and the recipe in your hand, say, I am not going to put in any flour. I do not like flour. I do not like to believe that flour should go into this cake. Your own sanity would prevent that. You would know there were certain standards that you must live up to if you hope to produce a cake of the kind and quality you had in mind. If you drive an automobile, you would not say, today I'm going to drive this car without gas. And I was thinking, and of course, in our time now, I'm not going to charge my car, right? I do not like the smell of gas. I do not like to think this car requires gas in order to run. If you were in your car and attempting to operate it in this manner, you would probably be sent to the nearest psychopathic ward. I don't know if that's true. Yet knowing that law is God's method of operation, that law obtains throughout all nature, governing both the seen and unseen. We insist on doing things in our own way simply because we like it better. Will we like the results better?
Right.
And so, in truth, many of us are just learning or just fully coming into a lived integral awareness that law is God's method of operation. And because, and particularly if you're coming out of traditional Christianity, law as God's operation was taught to you, but it was taught to you as a list of do's and don'ts.
Right.
Right. This idea. Right. So that's what you were taught, that's God's law. And what we understand and know as metaphysicians, what we teach here at CSC, what we know here in New Thought is that when we're talking about law, we're talking about the ways in which God operates in, through, and as us. And so first, we have to heal and develop a new understanding of who and what God is as law. If you're hearing this for the very first time, I actually encourage you to tap into the sermon series that we just completed, Tell Me About Your God, right, in April and May, because we actually go through the 7 main aspects of God, which will shatter your old experience and thinking about God as someone who is just ruling and as someone who's judging us and as someone who's going to put us in hell or allow us into heaven, as someone who is blessing some and taking away from others, as someone who is, as in the story of Job, having a conversation with Satan and saying, this person is righteous, but I'm going to remove my protection from him.
I'm going to test him.
And Satan, have your way with this person and just bring all calamity to their life, right? It'll destroy those old thinkings about who and what God is. And then you start to understand who and what God is as life, love, wisdom, intelligence, spirit,
beauty,
right? Beauty, substance, consciousness. And so then you have, from that awareness, you have an understanding of how this thing we call God actually operates. That law is God's method of operation. And here's the thing, that law obtains throughout all nature. This is why we can say things like God neither blesses nor damns any more than God removes or provides sun or rain, right, to people based on how they're acting or operating in the world. So if we can see that in nature, that's giving us a clue to understand the true nature of the all in all, right? Because this thing is governing both the seen and unseen. And so if we understand that, then of course we would not seek to do something in opposition to that. The last paragraph. Heretofore, maybe we have been unconscious creators.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
So let us not condemn ourselves. Let's forgive ourselves and set ourselves free. This is why we talked about, again, if you're writing in pencil and you make a mistake, unconsciously creating, you would not condemn yourself. Please do not condemn yourself in this situation.
And here's the truth. I won't say most, all of us have been unconscious creators at some point in our lives.
Every being.
All of us can continue to be unconscious creators. And even with the knowledge that you're receiving here and now and however many years you've been in New Thought, can create unconsciously. So forgive yourself and set yourself free.
Absolutely. When we perfectly understand the law and work with it, we shall be able to bring into our lives the good that we wish. Let us accept this power with love and gratitude and start to create a more wonderful destiny for ourselves. I'll add the word today. Right? And that's the beautiful thing. We're working with the law. Once we understand the law, we work with it in the same way that we work with gravity, in the same way that we work with electricity, in the same ways we work with, the other laws of physics. I'm thinking about momentum, right? If you push something down a hill, right, it's going to start going, right? We understand these things and we work with them to our benefit.
And we might not know all of the details about why it works,
right?
But once we understand that it works, we continue to abide by what works.
Right. You have your phone, you work with it. You know that it needs to be charged. You don't have to understand how batteries work.
Yep.
You don't have to understand why this cable works versus another.
Or the microprocessors or whatever's inside the phone. You don't need to know that.
But you can make use of that phone if it's not charged. Right? We know that, right? You know that in order to connect to the internet, Wi-Fi has to be turned on. You don't have to understand Wi-Fi. You don't understand why it works and what the protocols are and gigahertz this and gigahertz. You don't have to understand any of that.
Right. You don't have to have an advanced computer science degree or
No.
program. You don't need to know any of that stuff.
But you do know that Wi-Fi needs to be turned on in order to connect.
Right.
See? That's working with the law. And so similarly, just as we do, and again, taking Holmes' examples, right? In the same way, I just love how he writes it here, right? We should convince ourselves that it is as important to comply with the law on the unseen side of life as it is to abide by the law in the manifest world.
Right. You pay your taxes, don't you? That's a law.
Right. And this is beautiful because what it's also bringing to mind, because sometimes we think this is too hard or it's too much. You're not actually being asked to do anything more than you already do, anything more than you already have the ability to do. You're just using that same ability in a new way.
That
right?
Same ability to think, same ability to create. To create, what we usually end up doing is worry.
Yeah.
We use our imagination in a negative way to worry about the future, to worry about if this or that happened, to play scenarios over and over and over in our mind about what didn't happen or what should happen. That's really the improper use of the ability to think and create.
Absolutely.
And so what we're saying is use this law, these teachings to your benefit.
There you go.
Not your detriment.
Yeah.
Because the law will respond either way.
Yes. So we encourage you as your assignment for this week to reread this chapter. You can also come back to this lesson, right? Because we went through the entire chapter this week, which is wonderful. We had the time to do that. And you can go through the entire chapter again. Whatever questions come up, by all means, send us an email to truthsunday@celebrationsc.org. We will incorporate those questions in next week's class. Again, please do not skip ahead. If you feel the need to skip ahead, that's actually an indicator to either stop and really digest what you've read, or to go back through and read again. Maybe read chapter 1 and 2 again. You might hear and see 1 and 2 different now that we've moved through chapter 3.
And please do not be afraid to ask questions. If you've asked questions already, that's fine. Your question might be the same question that someone else has.
Absolutely.
The only questions we can't answer are the ones you don't ask.
Absolutely. Yeah. So in this moment, it is, of course, time for giving, and we are grateful for your gifts to CSC. I want to check in real quick. Someone sent me a message, which I'm happy that they did a couple weeks ago, after the giving talk a few weeks ago, thanking me and thanking us for what we shared. And I want to tap in quickly. How many people here in the space, if you are connected right here and right now, you would like to have more money in your life? If you're in need of more money, you may have a financial obligation that you absolutely want or need, or just you would like more money in general. I need a yes, a thumbs up, a heart, whatever it may be, to let us know that we're aligned. Yes. Okay, beautiful. So one of the things that's interesting, and you see it here on your screen, as you give, you receive. What's interesting about the way giving and receiving work. Now, first of all, A Course in Miracles, I love how it reminds us that giving and receiving are one in truth. And what that means is that as you are giving, and for those of you that are giving regularly and faithfully and consistently to CSC, again, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. You are continuing to support the mission and vision of CSC. You're continuing to ensure that this stream happens, right? We, the lights, the camera, the streaming services, all of the things that are necessary to bring this to you in this way, the graphics and the graphic design. We thank you and appreciate you for that support. But there's another piece to it, because if giving and receiving are one in truth, and you are giving and you have given and you are giving in your life in other ways, your time, talent, and treasure, you must move into the posture of receiving.
Yeah.
Right, and we've been working with, and you can go back to the 7 habits of prosperous people. I think it was the series a couple years back. In that series, I gave you this affirmation from Catherine Ponder. I am receiving. I am receiving now. I am receiving all the wealth that God has for me. And so it's important that as surely as you are giving, as surely as you're like, oh, I'm giving, and I know there's power in giving, right? I know that there's a law of circulation, and I want to continue to support CSC. I love my church, all of that. Beautiful, good. And now move into the posture of receiving.
Yes.
Right? And so this is one of the reasons why we affirm what we affirm each and every week. It's very easy to give to CSC, right? You can go to our website. You can text your dollar amount. There's a $10 minimum to text to give to 347-744-9500. And it's important that then, as you are giving, if you are giving, to then move into the posture of receptivity. And so from this place of receptivity, we now affirm all the money that I circulate.
All the money that I circulate.
Returns to me multiplied.
Returns to me multiplied.
In a never-ending cycle.
In a never-ending cycle.
Of increase.
Of increase.
And enjoyment.
And enjoyment.
If you do not have that affirmation memorized, write it somewhere, put it in your phone. Why? I found myself the other day, I was out and I had been circulating money. And then as I was in the lift on my way home, just reflecting on that, and I'm like, I've been out here circulating all the money that I circulate. Returns to me multiplied, right? Because you want to keep yourself, that puts you in the vibration of receptivity, right? Many times we're just giving and letting it stop there. And so when you're circulating, however you're circulating, your time, talent, and treasure, move into the place of receptivity. Oh my goodness, that's exciting to me. So we, again, appreciate each and every one of you. It is exciting to continue to move forward with this class. Thank you, everyone, for the Happy Father's Day messages. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And of course, as I said, Wednesday is Juneteenth. It's a holiday. We will still be praying at 7 a.m. and we trust that you will join us there. If you're not able to join live, then definitely tap into the recording, and then we will gather together next Sunday as we continue with the Masterclass studying It's Up to You by Ernest Holmes.
There will be no God Talk today.
Yes, a reminder.
If you joined us a little late, or this
Yeah.
is your first time this month joining us, God Talk is canceled, and we'll see you for that third Sunday next month.
Next month. All right. Love and appreciate y'all. Bye for now.
Bye for now.